Asteroid of fear.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast, and it is Unfiltered Friday. Welcome, 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 man. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you for listening. For another Unfiltered Friday, we're going to talk about repeats. Let's see if I can get this mic adjusted all right. But I'm not going to keep you guys too long because I have an interview coming up shortly. So I got to get this one recorded, and then of course it's got to convert, and I can see what I can do with it before my other interview. But then of course I'll have to get it uploaded, edited, clipped, and dipped, and yeah, the whole nine. Speaking of which, my birthday is Sunday, and I need to schedule a massage for today, as you're listening to this Friday, because Saturday, I don't know. Maybe I want to take a little day trip to the D town, to Dallas, and make sure I'm recording here. Yep. And maybe get my plucker's meal. Uh, what else? Try something new, a dessert pastry shop, something we don't have around here. Maybe go to Trader Joe or Costco. Trader Joe's or Costco. I don't know yet. But anywho, I had something interesting happen to me during my Uber adventures this week, and it kind of sparked a topic. And um, yeah, and this kind of ties into, hmm, well, Monday in a way. So, how about this? We'll start off with the story. So earlier this week, I was delivering, and I'm delivering to this house. And when you pull in, like you look at the map, I feel like it shows that this house is on the right because I'm approaching it and I'm going to make a left and drop off on the right. And, if you've ever used the Uber app, like it's got these little arrows, kind of shows you what's on top or what side of the street to expect. But this house, you know, I'm like looking for it and I think I missed it because I think it's like 1118. I'm at 1119 and then 1117 is right behind it. And it turns out it's one of those streets that odd numbers on one side, even on the other. And or all streets could be that way. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. um, and anywho, um, it turned out it was on the left. It was kind of, I kept like backing up, looking, and it was my first delivery of the day, which was interesting. And then yesterday I go out, my first delivery of the day, back to that place. But just, I didn't recognize the address, but as I'm pulling up to make that left, I'm looking and I'm looking to the right. And I'm like, where, where the hell is the house? Again. And again, it was on the left. And I was like, mother effer. Like, what the funk? Like, I didn't learn from the first time. I didn't remember it. So, do you guys ever have days like that? Or moments like that? Or, you go to do something. Maybe you just learned how to do something and you have a little bottleneck hang up and it's at the same place you get caught every time. And you consciously know, hey, don't fucking do that. Like, don't touch the stove. But yet you do it anyway. So, like, impulse. Well, I've been going through a little bit of that lately. And that's why you've had to put up with my solo episodes. I haven't had enough people scheduling on Podmatch, but that is my fault because I really haven't been, I've kind of been letting the messages pile up, um, dragging my feet. And I don't know why, but it's like being stuck on repeat, stuck in the doom loop. So, yesterday, before these delivery woes, I actually got through all my pod match messages, and that means like checking them, matching yes or no, scheduling, signing waivers, etc., etc. Um, because podcasting is the main thing I'm doing. It is how I want to make money. I can get money by interviews, yet I'm dragging my feet on interviews, and I'm like, why? And I'm choosing to Uber, which is not what I want to do for my whole life. So it's like, you need to be putting in the time with what you want to be doing. This is what I want to be doing. So I need to be spending more time behind the mic. I need to be spending more time in front of the camera. I need to be spending more time interviewing guests. But of course, that's not possible if you don't have guests to interview. And you don't have guests to interview because you're dragging your fucking feet on Podmatch. Because you're not matching, you're not checking the messages, you're kind of and then what happens is the further so like I have this interview after this and I'm excited about it, but I'm still nervous. And then usually once it's done, I'm always nervous going in, and then once it's done, the nerves kind of leave. I'm okay. And so it's always encouraging because it's like, hey, that's what you want to be doing. It feels good to do it. You like doing it. You walk away inspired on a high from having a great conversation with somebody, and you're going to get paid for it. Why aren't you doing it more? Why are you dragging your feet? That's hard. I think as men, maybe even as people, of the male persuasion, so I'm going to speak to that and stay in my lane. Um, but it's like we kind of do it to ourselves. This is what I want, no doubt. Well, why the fuck aren't you doing it? Why are you avoiding? Yeah, like task avoidance. I was avoiding going in and matching and passing. Why? I sit sometimes and prospect or end up gazing off into the internet with a 1,000 yard stare, not knowing what I'm fucking looking at. I don't know. But if you've listened to the other episodes, you know that kind of it's like since I got off routine and then with Buck passing away and moving and waiting for school to be out, it's like I've been kind of like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, as opposed to really just putting this forward and um, designing everything else around this because this is what I want to be doing. So how do we get out of it? Well, first of all, we got to recognize it. You know, what is these what do these cycles look like? I mean, I know as a guy, I get certain behaviors. I mean, there's anger, there's guilt, withdrawal, you isolate. Um, that anger and guilt comes from, you know, well, because you're not doing what you know you need to be doing, or you said you were going to be doing, or you say you value this, yet your actions aren't showing you value this. Yeah, pisses me off. And each day I was putting it off, a little bit irritable each day. And some of this is learned behavior. We learn it from our fathers, um, maybe even our mothers, if that was your quote unquote father figure growing up. Shout out to all the single moms out there and or single parents in general, man or woman. It is difficult. I don't want to exclude either because people always make men out to be the asshole and like it's their fault and that's why the kid is with the woman and vice versa. I mean, sometimes the woman's the shitty person and sometimes the man's the shitty person. And sometimes they're both okay and it's not about shitty people. It's about what is the best arrangement for your child. But enough of that. Anyhow, recognize it. You know, is it something you're consciously doing, or is it something that perhaps you picked up. Yeah, um, procrastination, that kind of procrastination and avoidance, that's the one, I think for me, a little bit of anger, a little bit of shame. The shame is you're not living up to your potential. You're not doing everything that you can do. And then you kind of self-soothe with it, be it by eating, watching TV. Like for me, avoidance is equal to kind of I do everything but what I'm supposed to be doing. That's how I'm self-soothing when I avoid. Um, Sometimes, when I think about it, even Ubering can be a form of avoidance for me. I'll go Uber, and then I can justify that, hey, I'm making money at least. I'm contributing. I'm out here earning money as the man. Yeah, I'm contributing. Well, the reality is I probably should have been answering pod match stuff, and because one, it pays more in the long run. It takes more time. Your time investment. You're not seeing the return on it now, like I am Uber. Once you drop it off, the money pops up on the screen, goes to your Uber card. That's it. Like waiting tables, your cash tip, you walk away, cash in hand. So, but the long-term goal, long-term growth, the long-term dollars are really in the time invested in sitting down in front of Podmatch. Um, because the other part of that is now that I've gone through all the messages, people will start scheduling. Um, before these interviews, I gotta do research. I gotta research the person. I make an outline. I'll listen to a couple of shows they're on. See how they differ. Because get ready to interview somebody, and I listen to an episode with them, and I don't think they talked about one thing that kind of was relevant. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm not making that mistake. But yeah, recognize it. Uh, Ask yourself, what are you avoiding and why? The time's going to go by anyway. And that's kind of the importance of having a system of habits that you can track because, you know, you're avoiding because there's some sort of emotional turmoil inside. And mine comes from many different things, everything from hormonal to um, just life lived. And so, yeah, lost my train of thought there. But, what was I saying? This will give me my mm, mm, no, that didn't trigger it. Anyway, why do we keep repeating it even though we know it's bad for us? Well, once we fall into these patterns, even if they're uncomfortable, they don't feel great, we adapt to them and it becomes familiar. I mean, for instance, when you start exercising, you go for your first workout. Most people overdo it and they're sore as hell, and then they never go back. But always, like if I've had a little break, an injury or something, when I go back, I start off lightweight, a little higher reps. I call it just getting sore. Just give myself a baseline level of soreness. And then you kind of build from there. You're sore enough that you know you broke down your muscles. They're going to go back, but you're not so sore that you're not going to go back and get the additional benefits of repeating it. Well, I think of this negativity or kind of this avoidance, this uncomfortable ability that we get comfortable with is, a little bit of it each day, and you don't necessarily notice. You avoid it, and then it's easier to avoid the next day, even though you know it's not the right thing to do. But you already took the little hit. It didn't hurt that much. It's like having a cheat meal or something. It wasn't that bad. It only put on a pound or two, when I checked the scale the next day. Um, uh, I can just continue on a little and a little and a little. Well, pretty soon, you're 10 pounds heavier. You haven't worked out in a couple of weeks because that little and little and little each day perpetually crept in. And then you're so fucking out of sorts. And then to close the gap, it sounds like some medical shit we used to call close the gap. Um, then it just takes a lot more effort and work and suffering. Yeah, I'll fix it next week. You get some people who are addicted to struggle. Who are they without the struggle? Yeah, you ever know people like that? They're not happy unless they're unhappy, unless they're always in some shit. um, some people live such a life that when things are going well, they get freaked out because their life is constantly filled with challenges. But yeah, how are we going to break this? Well, awareness. For me on my habit tracker, I have a most important improvement every day. What do you need to be doing better? And I had a string of probably 2 weeks, maybe even more. If you look at it, it says PM for pod match. I knew it. And part of me was like, you should choose something different. Part of me, the other part of my brain was like, no, fuck you. Keep writing it down until you do something about it. Yesterday, I finally did. Oh, yeah. But figure it out, whether that's through journaling, whether you're habit tracking. And then, how do we break it? Well, some accountability. I have a private accountability group you can join. That's one option. Get a habit tracker. So you're checking it off daily and skipping how you feel, how your mood is. Stick to the plan, not your feelings. So if you can see it and you can track it and you get a score for it, and you know, and it's aware, and it's like, if it's on the paper and you're not getting it done, then maybe you're running out of time, maybe you're avoiding it, maybe you're not, consciously. Like I have one thing that I'll never give myself a one on until I'm ready to, like, let's say, set a regularly scheduled meeting. But right now, I'm kind of in this, got all the pod match done, trying to get everything else, trying to get the piles sorted so I can start tackling them. But until I do a couple other things, um, and I can set up, like, let's say, a regularly scheduled monthly meeting for the accountability group, then I will not give myself a one. And part of that is I just know, like, hey, I know these other things have to come first. But it just feels more overwhelming and out of sorts because I drug my feet for so long. Yeah, slow course corrections. I tackled that yesterday, and pretty soon people are going to start scheduling, and then I'm going to be so fucking busy that it's going to be kind of like when I was with Buck, and I would just work on as much as I could because I never knew once he woke up what would be required of me and how long it would last. And so when I was on the schedule of interviewing, doing interviews most days except for Mondays, um, I would, yeah, had a lot to do. Then I would squeeze in my Uber. I'm that kind of person. The more I do, the more I have to do, the better. The more balls there are to juggle, the better. Um, yeah, I'm bad when it comes to idle. Idle hands are the devil's playground, 100% for me. And a little faith-based anchoring. Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world. Um, yeah, don't be like everybody else. Take notice, get yourself up some habits, a way to track them, some daily non-negotiables, exercise, journaling. Uh, Mine is all podcast related, but yours can be specific to you. You don't have any directions or a map, and you don't know where the fuck you're going. So you need something on paper. But I don't know. Get out a pen and paper. Ask yourself what cycles are you stuck in right now, and what can you do to break them? I suggest an action. Whatever it is you're avoiding, just do it. The opposite of avoidance is action. But track it. Hit me up. Join the accountability group. Have some accountability coaching. It's the only way you're going to make forward progress. I can tell you I feel 10 times better since getting that done. I knew it needed to get done. And I fucking did it. And now, man, I had so many messages. Now I just got to stay on top of it and start checking it every day. But yeah, I feel like I've been kind of stuck in some sort of warped land of craziness between the world, things going on in life, the starting, the stopping, the waiting, getting out of rhythm, out of sync, losing momentum. It is hard to get it back. So my other suggestion to you is that if you are a person who has a nice rhythm to life, you have the momentum as it is relating towards moving towards your goals. Don't pause. Don't take your foot off the gas. An object in motion stays in motion. My business coach would love that because he's a nerd. But I can tell you, outside of physics, from a personal standpoint, 100% fucking true. Once I lost momentum and took the foot off the gas and took a pause for the cause, I like shoot myself in the damn foot. And I get pissed off about that too. You know, telling you, for men, that irritation, that shame, sometimes it's not, you're not pissed off at the thing. You're pissed off at yourself because you avoided, you procrastinated, you fell for something stupid, you did something you know you shouldn't do. That's why I think men, we get mad. We're mad at ourselves. That's probably why guys like maybe that's why they fight and like have a beer afterwards. Maybe they weren't really mad at the other person. They realize, oh, just mad at ourselves and being dumb fucks because we're stupid. Because we run off of ego and emotion a lot of times. And there's a time for it. It has its place and purpose. You need a little bit. I mean, if I didn't have enough ego to have enough self confidence, I would never started this journey. I never would hit publish. I wouldn't be 2 years in. I wouldn't have the confidence to go to the gym, lose 65 pounds, post pictures online and go, look at me, I was fucking fat. And I'm okay with it because I need for you to see the change. So I can help you if you want my help. If you don't, no worries. But don't do it alone. I have a coach. Get yourself a coach. Get yourself a community. Find yourself a group. Be that men, women, co-ed, however it needs to be. But find yourself some accountability partners. We're meant for connection. Every time I isolate, once I ask for help, or once I express my feelings to somebody, even if it's just to talk, I always feel better. Because it's not meant to be your burden all on your own. And that's why we have prayer. That's why all religions pray to something or someone and ask for assistance and help. So yeah, spiritual and or physical. I just don't think we're meant to be alone. But as an only child, I crave a little bit of aloneness, and it's very easy for me to be alone. I'm very comfortable being alone, but I have to be mindful that that enjoyment doesn't turn into isolation. Because when that happens, it's like nothing's getting done, and it's like tucked away in the corner. Isolation feels shameful. That's the worst kind of thing, I think. Because shame makes us do crazy things, act different ways, which that's why I always say if you're embarrassed about something, just fucking get it out in the open, admit it, ask for help. And the people who judge you for it, fuck them. They're human too. They make mistakes. One good thing for me is anytime I feel iffy on that, I go, okay, if that were me who did that, how would I want that person to treat me or view that? And then I try to adjust my behavior accordingly. Think of it, if your child makes a mistake and fucks up, making them feel worse about it's not going to do any fucking good. So, yeah. But anywho, that's what we're gonna wrap that up in a bow and send you off with that call to action. Figure out what you're avoiding, figure out what negative patterns you're stuck in, even if they're comfortable. Where are you giving in a little each day? Whether it's a couple of 100 calories, skipping a workout, maybe avoiding a tough conversation, a necessary conversation. Oh man, you ever have to have one of those? Tell you as a leader, having to fire people, you're like, wait for the right time. There's never a right time. Or to give somebody bad news or whatever. It's like, but then once you do it, you're glad it's over. But that in between time, you isolate, you shut down, you don't act normal towards the people because you're holding on to this piece of information that, yeah, even if it has nothing to do with you and it wasn't something you did bad, you're still holding on to this secret type of thing. Not good. So, what secrets are you keeping to yourself? Get them out. Where do you need help? Ask for help. Reach out. I have an accountability group. WhatsApp, I'm in there active daily. I have a Facebook group. I offer accountability coaching if you want and or need. But yeah, until then, until next time, go out and be the person that you would want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.